What up, what up, what up? Happy To Go Thursday. Steph, good to see you. It's been a while. How you doing?
We're back. You left me in suspense there. We're back. It's Thursday. It's To Go Thursday to be exact. Feeling good. Feeling great. The holidays are around the corner. So today was my last day at work until the new year.
Wow,
so
good.
I'm definitely enjoying it.
Awesome. Definitely need that much needed breaks anytime you can get them. And that's what, like a week, a little bit over a week or so, 2 weeks that you're having.
Yeah, it's like a week and a half kind of.
Nice. Plans? Are you traveling? You're staying home?
No, just staying out here, chilling. I'm gonna get like into my draft sheet because I think a lot of us are in that draft mode already. At least like we should be, right? We should get into it. So I'm gonna start it a little bit earlier than I did last year. So excited about that at least.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I don't think we're doing too much either. Obviously, we had just got back from vacation. And so my wife goes back to work tomorrow night and will, has to work through the holidays and whatnot. So we decorated a little because I'm like, I need to get in at least a little bit of Christmas spirit, like I don't want to be like the Grinches. Like I even told her, like everybody in our like 4-door like apartment, like us 2 on top, there's 2 on bottom. All 3 of them have something Christmas hanging on their door. And then we're the only ones that don't. I'm like, we look like we're the Grinches of the freaking.
Yeah. Is that why you got the little green, touch of green here in our.
Because we already got red up there, so we got to put some green on. That's why. So I set up our Christmas trees literally like this freaking tall. And then my office has Christmas lights. So we're going to go get some more Christmas
decorations. Those are like the Stranger Things Christmas lights. It's giving 80s.
Right. We're going to go get some more decorations from the storage after the show so we can put something on our front door and fit in with the crew.
That'll be nice.
At least. Yeah. Chat, what's up? Happy To Go Thursday. You guys ready for the holidays? How you guys feeling? Obviously, football, it ain't going how we all expected, hoped, wished for. But, here we are. So what can we do? At least it's almost over, so we don't have to suffer for too much longer. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. Uncle Satsi, good to see you. Happy holidays. Hope you're doing well. Dion, Rob D, Don, Throwback, appreciate you all. Jimmy, who else we got in here? Let me see. Did I miss somebody? Jedi.
We got the squad, man. We got everyone in here right now.
What's good? Hope you guys are doing well. Talk to me. Obviously, the game now a week ago, so we're not going to talk about it too much. But there are a couple things that occurred that I do want to get your thoughts on. Obviously, the big ones that are going on. Devondre Campbell. Let's talk about it.
Bum.
Yes. Like I can't believe that. Like literally, what week are we on? Like week 6, week 15. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going into week 16
up there.
Yeah.
So I spent like 13 weeks of the NFL season hoping and praying and wishing for this motherfucker to be off our team. And the blink of an eye, when we actually fucking need you, he's like, nope, I'm out of here. Like, what did he think? Like, did you not know that you were coming to fill in for Greenlaw? Like, was that not something that was known? Did he think he was going to keep that job when Greenlaw came back? Like, you thought you played well enough to keep the job?
And also, it was like week 15. You played like all the other games. Like, was that not enough for you? Like, I was so annoyed by that. And yeah, just the fact that, for one, clearly he thought he should play over Greenlaw. Like, that's ridiculous. That's disrespectful. There's a great lack of self-awareness and there's a great lack of self-respect, if I'm being honest. Like, you don't respect yourself if you don't respect your team and you don't even, bother to go out there when your team needs you. And I'll say this too, like it was disrespectful to all the players who have gone through shit this season, who have battled through, and been selfless to get back on the field. Countless, like there's been so many guys who have gone through off the field, personal stuff, and they're still pushing. They're still going through injuries as well. They're still going out there, giving it their all. And this dude can't be bothered to go in because he got benched for Dre freaking Greenlaw. I mean, bum. Like, I don't even want to talk about this man anymore because it distracted from a lot of things that to me, like, are more important, like people who are actually part of this team and how they looked, in this game. It was a bad game by the 49ers. Yeah. And, it was an incredible performance from Dre Greenlaw in that game in like a half of football, right? In one half. And I felt like what Campbell did distracted from that. Like it was the headline the following day. The headline should have been, my God, like Greenlaw is back. He looks incredible. And I know we had a moment for that as well during the game and we all appreciated that, but like it wasn't being talked about enough. Like considering he had an Achilles tear 10 months prior, like what he did in the game in just a half of football, I think was incredible. And we need to, give that time and that appreciation instead of talking about a bum who thankfully is no longer part of this team.
Woohoo! Like I hope, like I'm glad, that John Lynch and the 49ers did whatever they had to do to get it so to where, like hit his freaking pockets. Don't let him go sign with another team. But I highly doubt, like you would have to be disgusting. Like seriously screwed up in the head if another team looks at that motherfucker and says, oh yeah, let's sign him on our team and add him to our locker room. One, because he played like shit. So you're not even adding like something that's going to help your team on the field, but then you're adding a locker room cancer like on top of it. So why would a team even say, let's try to get this guy to win a Super Bowl with us? And like I hope his career is done. Like I really do. Like I hope, like, and like you said, probably like the Jets or the freaking Browns, they'll go sign him. Yeah. But like, I really hope that's the, like, he's done. Like he does not deserve, you do not deserve to put on a fucking uniform and go out there and line up next to other guys that, like you said, are giving everything they fucking have, going through real life shit, losing children, and still getting out there on the field because they don't want to give up on their teammates.
He can go and be a model, whatever he wanted to be. Did you see all those old tweets from? He'd go be a model if that's where his passion lies, because clearly it's not in football. He tried to bamboozle us into thinking, and I think he bamboozled himself, quite honestly, putting out tweets in the off season saying, I found my love for football again and all this bullshit. Like, get out of here, man.
Blaming the Packers because he was ass. No, you're just ass, buddy. You're just ass. Hang it up. Hey, Chrissy. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Let's talk about Dre Greenlaw. We're going to talk about him in a little bit as well when we talk about our pay and keep segments I have for us. But like, wow. Like I was talking to Ty on our show on Tuesday, and I told him, had I just turned on, like not knowing anything, right? And I just turned on the 49ers Rams game. And that first half of football, I'm just watching and I see Greenlaw playing. I would have never thought that was his first game back from a major injury. Never. Like rust, football shape, like all this shit that we always talk about. Like, hello?
Right.
And Fred, like, I thought it was perfect because Fred was asked, like, are you surprised by the way that Greenlaw, looked coming back from all that? And he's like, I wish I could say I was surprised, but no, like, that's Greenlaw. Like, that's who he is. Like, he's just different.
He's different.
And wow.
I mean, I was expecting it too, because like they always say, and like return to play doesn't equal return to performance. Usually when you're dealing with an injury like an ACL tear or, you know, an Achilles injury like this, it takes, I think, close to a year for a player to get back to their form and get back to the version they were pre-injury, right? So they can come back and they can play, and you know, they may look good, but just not the same like burst that they had before, or like it takes time for some of that to come back, right? And I saw someone point out too, like even before the game, like I don't know if you saw this, Miriah, but like the difference in his calf size from like the one that he had been rehabbing, the one that had the Achilles tear, to like the other one that, you know, was his regular his regular calf, all muscular and whatnot. The difference was crazy to see.
Yeah.
And that's what he went on the field with, right? Like 10 months after this tear, and he balled out. He went 110%, man. I love that guy. Like I love Greenlaw. He embodies exactly what you want out of a player, just selflessly going 110% on every play. The energy that he brings. I mean, I think it's not crazy to say that in his time there in that one half, like he made everyone around him better.
Yes.
Because, and we've talked about it before, I believe, right? Like when you play like that, it's infectious. Like you feed off of that energy, you know, and I think Fred felt it too. Like you saw a difference in even Fred Warner, right? Like what have we been saying since like week 4 after he had that injury? Like this is a different version of Fred, you know, he's playing hurt, all that. But he came up to play too, you know, this past week, and he looked like his old self as well. So I think a lot of that had to do with Greenlaw coming back and Fred not having to, you know, feel like he had to do too much and playing freely. I think, man, the defense looked great. And I think it's no coincidence. I do think Greenlaw had a big thing to do with that. And I want him back, man. Like he has to be back with this team. So I hope they don't let him walk.
Yeah. Like he like literally is the heartbeat of the defense, you know, and you saw it. You saw not only the D-line, it's like the D-line plays better with Greenlaw behind them. The safeties and cornerbacks play better with Greenlaw in front of them. Fred plays better with Greenlaw next to him.
Yep.
And you saw that the minute he got on the field. And then as soon as he got off, what happened? The defense, you noticed it. It felt it. Like that's the kind of guy you have to pay. You have to find a way to keep him. And the fact that obviously, you know, there could have been questions. Okay, do you pay him? Does this injury hamper him? You know, how's he going to be after the injury? Well, one half of football, and I think the questions were answered.
Yep, I was seeing those tweets. I was seeing people like say, like, sign Greenlaw now. Like I've seen enough. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy, but it's true. Like if that's what he's gonna look like in his first game back, 10 months after an Achilles tear, like I'm not worried about anything. Bring him back.
I agree. What's up, Lava? I see you. I appreciate you. And then Uncle Salty says, stay salty, Miriah. It's not just a mood, it's a lifestyle. Sim, good to see you. All right. So since let's not talk about that shitty ass game anymore. Since we already started with Greenlaw, let's just work our way through the pay and keep segments here. So next to Greenlaw, obviously it's, you know, we got to figure out a way to pay. I mean, not pay or keep, obviously pay or go. We got to find a way to pay him, figure it out. Now, the thing is, Steph, is he can get top money from some of these other teams that have money to throw out. He's not just one of these players that, a lot of the times, and this has happened with quite a few players, I feel like the faithful and even the 49ers staff, they think more highly of a player than what other teams think of them. Like, that player, and maybe it's up to scheme or it's just whatever it is. Like, and I think with Greenlaw, though, he's a player. It's not just us that think he's great. It's not just, oh, he's great because he plays next to Fred, or he's great because he's on the 49ers. I think he could be great, like, on his own, like, without being Fred's partner, without being Fred's duo, without being Fred's sidekick, without Fred. Now, so is another team going to offer him some high price dollar that we have a quarterback to pay and we have whoever else to pay? That's what I'm worried about.
You can't let it get to that. Like, if Greenlaw gets to free agency, he's gone, in my opinion. Because yes, absolutely, there's going to be another team with more money that they can spend that's going to be willing to give that up for Greenlaw, not to mention all of the former 49er coaches or front office guys that are now out there in the rest of the NFL that would be a shoo-in, right? Like, I'm sure even Greenlaw would love to play for some of those guys, right? So it's not so much of, oh, like, I got to stay in San Francisco because I love this scheme and I love, these coaches. Now, that scheme and some of those coaches and those elements are somewhere else as well. So that's my worry, that, of course, if he reaches free agency, I don't think he's a Niner. If the 49ers are real about, wanting to keep Greenlaw, and I think they should be, you need to get this done before the league year starts and he can start negotiating with other teams.
Do you have hope that they get this done, Steph?
I think so.
We have seen from them in the past.
I was a little concerned about Greenlaw's comments, kind of the way he spoke about free agency and him being a free agent is that, like, he expected to go into free agency. He's not really worried about anything else, but, like, it just seemed like he didn't feel like they would get something done in time. I don't know. Or maybe he was just kind of saying that so they can, get a move on with it. Mm-hmm. But then, Kyle was asked about it, I think this past week and I think yesterday, and he said he wants to keep him and Huff, which I believe him, right? Of course, there's a lot of other things that go into that. Like, so I don't know if things are being negotiated right now. I would hope so. But yeah, I think right now I am hopeful because now that the 49ers have seen what he looked like in a game after injury, it's like, oh shoot, we better get on this. Like, we gotta bring him back. Same with Huff, really. I think at the start of the season, like, not to, segue off of Greenlaw, but like, I think early in Huff. Okay, yeah, like early in the season, I think it was we didn't really know what to expect. Jair Brown could have maybe been that guy. Like, I think that's what we were all hopeful of. Like, Brown was going to take a second-year leap, and, that didn't happen. So that obviously kind of left the door open for Hufanga. Then he got injured. He didn't look great when he did come back early in the season, for whatever reason that may be. But when he came back like a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I believe, from the wrist injury, he looked like his old self too. So that makes things interesting suddenly, where you feel now like you need to prioritize Huff. Because, like I said, you were hoping for Brown to kind of be a sure thing. And Mustafa looks great. Like, I'm not worried about Mustafa, right? But now you kind of got a tricky decision to make with Huff. And I think you could get Huff back, on a decent price. I don't think, it's going to break the bank. The safety market isn't too crazy. Right. So I think they could bring him back as well. And even him, I'd be less worried if it hits free agency, because I think the way the 49ers have used him has been great. And you still have that same worry of like, there's other defensive schemes that have kind of branched out from, D'Amico, Saleh. Well, I guess Saleh, you don't really have to worry about right now, but
what if he's going to be part of Green or whatever?
Just like other coaching trees of the Shanahan, or like, I don't know, all these defensive coordinators that are out there that fit what the 49ers do as well. I guess you'd have to worry about that with Huff too, but I think less so than you would with Greenlaw. So,
and like, I don't, and then I want it to seem like, oh, like I think these other guys don't want to be here, but I think Huff is more of, he wants to be a 49er. And if not, he wants to be in California. Like, he's a California kid, so
That's
like,
true.
I'd be more worried about, okay, hopefully, like the Chargers, like, don't get him, or, because I feel like, and he talks so highly about being a 49er, how much it means to him, like just in the Bay. And I don't know. I just feel like, and like you said, the safety market too, I feel like, and then his injury concern. Yeah, he played better, coming back from injury, but he does have that, and going all the way back to college, there's injury concern. So I feel like all of that, can help the 49ers be able to get him, hopefully for a cheaper price, and they're be able to, because I haven't given up on Jair Brown. He's still young. I think whether, he was thrown into the fire, into a role where he's expecting to communicate back there, and it wasn't for him. Change of coaches as well. Who knows what the reason for the decline in his second year? But I do know that there's a reason. There's a sophomore slump for a freaking reason, like that saying. It happens to tons of guys in their second year. So, and I'm so tired of that. Oh, this guy doesn't play great for a year, and it's just like, okay, we're throwing him out to the fucking trash. Like, I'm so sick and tired of not giving these guys, a chance to be able to learn and grow and everything that they need to do. So as much as, I want to sign Huff back, I do think that there is room for all three of those safeties to be great, together in this system. So hopefully they're able to, get that going, because that was the plan for this season, right? Before Huff got hurt, most of the entire season was for those three guys to be playing together. And, whether that's the pair of Huff and in there together, and then, rotating Jair Brown in, whatever, however, figure it out, make the friggin' packages, do it.
Right. So I think that would be for Huff, like that would be part of it too. Like, as far as negotiation, like if he negotiates with the Niners, I think he needs to have a clear picture of what is my place in this team going forward. Like, am I going to be the starter over Jair Brown? I think that has to be part of the conversation, because, everyone wants to play. If he got that opportunity over, like on another team to start, and he wasn't really promised that with the Niners, that could sway his decision potentially. So we'll see. But yeah, there are teams who find a way to get all, like, their top three safeties involved. Usually that's if you use one of your safeties as like a big nickel, which the 49ers don't do. And I don't think any of the ones they have now would really fit in a role like that. But I'm sure there's a way, like you said, they can kind of maybe rotate or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I guess it really depends on Jair Brown. Is he going to look better next year? Like, there's so much uncertainty there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, both of those guys are still on their rookie contracts, so it's not like we need to be making any decisions with them. I highly doubt that they're going to cut Jair Brown.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be back. Yeah, he'll be back.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Obviously, this whole list that I have of guys here, if we're going to pay him or not, kind of all depends on what happens with this guy. Brock Purdy. Big, huge topic of conversation for his pay lately. It seems like everywhere I turn, people are comparing him to this quarterback, that quarterback, who should get paid, yada, yada, yada. So I saw a tweet go out yesterday from Dan Orlovsky, whatever the frick his name is. He says, 2025 NFL season. Rather have number 1, Purdy at 52 plus million. Number 2, Darnold at 52 plus million. Number 3, Cousins at 27.5 million. Talk to
Cousins
me about
has looked terrible this
horrible.
year.
But talk to me about Brock versus old Sammy D.
I think the value is important. So if they're on equal value, right, is how he had them. Like, which one would you rather have? They're getting paid the same. I think I would. That's tough. Like, the thing about Sam Darnold is that he has the arm. He has the arm strength. Like, he can sling it. That's the thing that he has over Brock, and he's always going to have. And I think it was more so for him the other things that he needed to improve on. And it looks like he's improved on those things. I don't know if it's just the environment. Obviously, Minnesota has been a very quarterback-friendly environment for guys to kind of rehab their career, even more so, even better than San Francisco has been. Right. So maybe he's being aided by that. But it's like kind of one of those things where it's like, if you, for a quarterback that has struggled early on in their career, haven't been in good situations, when they do finally get to one of those rehabilitation type teams, type offenses, they could go to a different team and be successful. Like, look at Baker Mayfield. Like, he had the one season with the Rams. It was the Rams, right? Yeah. Like, and he was like Stafford's backup, I think. And I think he started like a couple games because it was the season that Stafford was dealing with some injuries. What else is new? But I think after that is when he went to the Bucs, and then he did fine in the Bucs. Like, he looks great, right? Like, he looks good. I wouldn't mind having a Baker Mayfield. Like, you can win with that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what we got to figure out. Like, is Darnold going to go, because he is going to go to another team next season. Is he going to be playing at that same level that he is right now? Or is it just him being in Minnesota, right? So I think that's what we got to figure out. But I mean, for the sake of, I think, the argument, I think I'd take Darnold, which is crazy but I only say that because of the arm talent that he has and what we've seen this season. Obviously, like, we've seen Brock look that good as well. So yeah, just because, I mean, traits are everything. And if a quarterback with traits can look good and in your system, then I mean, that's good.
What if this is like the outlier season, though? Because I mean, we've seen Sammy D look worse more often than better. Like, let's not forget, this is the guy that admitted he's seen ghosts out there.
Yeah, but that was with the Jets. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's very much environment driven, like why some of these quarterbacks look the way they did. Like, I would have never imagined that Baker Mayfield come like a year after leaving the Browns that he would ever look, how he does now, right? So, and I think with some of those like veterans, they tend to get better with time, because they're just a little more savvy, know what they could get away with. Usually, like, when they can choose where they go, they tend to choose a place that fits their skill set and a scheme that's favorable for them. So I think all that plays into it. Not to say like obviously Brock is in a good situation, like, you know, but I don't know. I got to go with the traits. Like if they can perform equally in similar like offenses, I got to go with the guy who has the traits over the other, and that would be Sam.
Yeah, because I don't know, like, to be honest, I'm kind of worried about, and it's not like you play in bad weather all the time, especially us, right, as 49ers, but I don't know if it's like Brock's limitations. Like, why can't he play in the freaking rain? Like, I don't understand. Like, is his hands too small?
I think that's part of it. Like, your grip on the ball is different. Like
his down, like him throwing the ball even downfield this season and not in the rain. It could be sunny, 80 degrees out, and he's not getting it done. Like those are the things like I'm starting to worry about. Like, we've gone through so many years of having a quarterback already that don't have what it takes to get it done. You know, like you can't, and like I was talking like a whole different position, but I was talking to a couple of the girls yesterday about the O-line and about Kyle, like all of a sudden now bitching, oh, well, Brock doesn't have protection and his protection wasn't great. And that's why he threw the interception and all this shit. And it's like, well, you put those guys out there. You can't put mid out there and then expect them to be performing like Pro Bowlers. Like, they don't have it in them. They're not that.
Yeah.
You have to get better guys out there, like, and to expect them to perform better. Like, you know, you can't stick ass out there and expect them to be not ass all of a sudden. It's not going to happen. So you are to fucking blame, you know? And so the same, it's like, you can't put a quarterback out there that doesn't have the arm strength or doesn't have whatever it is that he's lacking. I don't freaking know, but obviously he's lacking something because he's not fucking getting it done. You know, like, you can't pay a quarterback 60 plus million when he can't go out there and put the team on his back and wield them to wins. Like, everything around him has to be perfect. We've gone through this already with Jimmy. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and last season, all we heard was, no, it's not Brock's weapons. He's good. He's a top 5 quarterback. It's not his weapons. It's not the stuff around him. It's him. Well, now what this season? He doesn't have all that shit around him. And now what? Now what's to blame? We're going to blame that he doesn't have weapons? Well, I thought he could do it without them. I thought he was a top 5 quarterback.
Man.
I mean, Josh Allen lost his number 1 wide receiver. He's out there with literal mid at receiver. And that's getting it done.
Yep.
So, like, what do you do now, though?
I mean, I agree with some of what you're saying. Like, I mean, I agree that, like, Brock has limitations. I think so. He has limitations, but you can win with him to a certain extent. That extent is, like, he needs the team around him to be loaded and have a good offense and scheme around him, right? I also think, like, defenses have forced the 49ers offense to play in a way that kind of magnifies Brock's limitations. So, like, they've been playing more man. Brock has struggled against man more so this season. There could be many reasons why that is. But, you know, to go back to what do, I think you have to pay Brock. You have to pay Brock because who else are you going to get? You know, and again, like, you know, you can win with him. He was the quarterback of this team when they went to the Super Bowl. And he was a quarterback on the team when they went to the NFC Championship. So you can win with him. He's not always going to be the reason that you win, at the same time. So I think you extend him, I think at the same time, like, as the team, like, you have to protect yourself and you have to have some flexibility in that contract, and some type of potential out where, you can maybe trade him in the future if it comes to that. And then I think you keep drafting quarterbacks in the draft, and it doesn't have to be in the first round, it doesn't have to be in the second round, but like you keep drafting quarterbacks because that's just good process. I think every team should draft a quarterback every year, right? So I think you keep going at it. You do what you can with Brock while you have him. And if it gets to a point like it did with Jimmy Garoppolo, if it gets to a point where, man, we can't really do much else, then, that's when you move on. But I mean, you gotta pay him now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw a lot of people saying, oh, they would make him play out, like this 4th year. Like, I don't ever see that being a case that happens. Like, I don't
why would you even risk that though? Like,
yeah.
Because I've seen people say, like, no, he wouldn't hold out. Like, but why would you even risk that? I mean, like, if quarterback is the one position, like, you don't want to mess with, why? Like, you need Brock in there in the building not all off season, but like as soon as team reports back, like, Brock needs to be there, needs to have his security. And that's it. You can't mess around. And they didn't mess around when it was Jimmy Garoppolo. They got that done quickly. Mm-hmm. We saw how not getting it done quickly and waiting till the final week before the season start, like how that could impact not just the player, but your entire team. And so why would you do that with your quarterback? They won't. I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll get this done, pretty quickly because they need to.
Yeah. What's up, Peachy? I see you. All right. I saw some of you already enter it in there. I forgot that I had it scrolling. So if you entered it already, you need to re-enter it because it knocks you out eventually. So hashtag goats. Get into the giveaway. Can you give this? Let me see if I can get it right here.
Goats.
2 goats here. Signed and numbered by the artist. And you get a goat sticker. Okay. So get in there. Hashtag goats. You can enter from either channel. It doesn't matter.
Does it have to be plural?
Yes, plural.
See, Uncle Salty, you got to make it plural.
Uncle Salty.
Rob, you got to make it plural.
Get the shit right, man.
All right.
Goats,
we need to get you in there.
Like 2 goats.
Goats.
All right. Let's move on to Charvarius Wards. Now, before the season, we, and even us 2 specifically, spoke about which corner we were going to keep out of the 2 because they're both becoming available. Obviously, the 49ers already made the choice. They paid the Amador, and I'm so glad they got it done. Right. And we don't have to worry about this, losing him and all this mess. Wow. Like, first of all, let me just say, wow. Like, I'm still so shocked that the 49ers got this deal done in season. Like,
one of the best things. One of the best things they did all year.
Yeah, like, I swear. Like, we didn't even know it was going on. Like, it was just, okay, he's here. Let's go. All right. Like, nice, easy. Like, could they all get done like that? Now, but with Charvarius, obviously he didn't have a great season. Everything else, aside, we know what he's dealing with. Do you let him go? Now you have Renardo Green that you drafted. Are we going to trust him enough to take that starting spot, next season? What do you do with Charvarius?
I think so. And I think this is one of those moves where you don't have the luxury to spend money on Ward when you do have someone that you just drafted, that I think you drafted with the intention of, Ronaldo Green being your guy going forward, so you can move on from Mooney Ward, because really the decision in my mind was between one of the two, Ward or Lenore, right? They already made that decision. But, shit's tricky. Like, I thought the same about Debo and Brandon Ayuk. I was like, well, Debo got the extension, so there's no way they could pay Brandon Ayuk. If Brandon Ayuk got his extension, Debo was getting cut or traded or something like that, and then they've kept Debo around too. So, like, I don't know. I guess there's creative ways to, make flex your cap a little bit, but I still think that the plan was to let Mooney Ward walk after this season. He's a little bit older now. He's 29. So by the start of the next season, he's going to be 30. So that would be my decision to let Mooney walk.
Yep, I agree. What's up, RJ? Appreciate you. Jordan Mason is going to be a restricted free agent. You think we keep him? Or do you think another team will swoop him up?
I don't think you keep him. I think another team would swoop him up happily. And that would probably, I'd imagine, work into the comp pick formula for the following season. And that's fine. Like, honestly, I think Jordan Mason probably deserves to be the main guy somewhere. Yeah. The 49ers, signed McCaffrey to an extension this last offseason. I think they believe he's going to be in a better spot come the start of 2025. Isaac Orendo also has some, injury question marks, so let's not forget that. But I do like Orendo. I do think, like, he is probably best suited for an RB2 role, change of pace kind of guy that can give you, like, that speed factor until he proves, if he could ever prove, that he could even, handle, and his body can handle a bigger workload, right? Hamstring is definitely an issue. That's the latest injury he's dealing with. So I think they draft a running back, and I've heard that this draft class is pretty deep with running backs. So I don't think I hope the 49ers don't draft one super early, because I think they can get one later that's serviceable, just like they have in the past. So yeah, but I think you let Jordan Mason walk.
Okay. We're gonna go over a couple of guys that are vets as well, that might, not necessarily up for a pay, but they might be out of here. But I'm gonna save those for the last. They were right here in my list, that's why I brought it up. But it's good. It's a good talking point, so I want to end on that. Let's hit these other ones real quick. Hashtag GOATs, last call. Get in there. Hashtag GOATs, plural, like you see it on the screen. Elijah Mitchell.
No.
Kevin Givens.
Kevin Givens is an interesting one. Like, he's stuck around, right? And he just seems to be like a cheap option that the 49ers have liked to have as part of his rotation. So I guess it wouldn't shock me if he was back, depending on the type of deal that he got. But also, I think it's probably more likely that he walks and joins another team.
I agree. I wouldn't be mad either, though, if we found a way to keep him on the cheap. Like, either way, it's like one that's like, okay. Feliciano. Now, we thought, he could have came in and actually helped us and made this O-line better this season. But, I don't know what the injury, it seemed like he was trying to come back half the season. And then when they finally opened his window, he's not good to come back. So it was very strange. And he's on the older side. So do you risk trying to pay him and experiment another season, or do you let him go?
I think they let him walk. I mean, he's going to be 33 entering 2025. I think him coming off an injury as well will, make things a little more difficult for him. I think they'll let him test free agency, right? If no one bites, we'd be happy to have you back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
At vet minimum kind of deal, maybe. I don't know, just a team friendly deal. I could see that. But I think they let him walk. He's not going to be a priority, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's draw this. So if you're not in there, too bad. Sorry for you. All right, so good luck to all 11 of you. Good luck. Miss Debbie!
Go.
The GOAT herself.
Congrats.
Won. Yay, Miss Debbie. Congrats to you. Much love to you always. All right. Let me see. Let's hit the rest of this list fast. You guys can, let us know in the chat if you want to keep them as well. All right. DFF.
I think they let him walk. I think D Winters is going to be the third linebacker, assuming they keep Dre Greenlaw, right? Like, I think D Winters returns, or sorry, not returns. He'll be under contract, but he'll be taken over as the third linebacker, I think. Flanagan Fowles, like, I think they've kept him more so because of his special teams experience, right? I wouldn't particularly say he's that great of a linebacker. So, yeah, I think they'd let him walk.
Yeah, I agree. I've been sick of his ass already. Isaac Yidam.
I don't think he's been terrible, but I don't think they need the same corner depth that they had this past season. Yeah, I don't think they bring him back.
I thought he was going to be better than what he's like. He hasn't been, terrible.
Right.
But, from like everything I read and the season like he was coming off of, like I was expecting him to be better and have a bigger role with us than he did. So yeah, he can go. Sorry for you, boy. Gotta go. Aaron Banks. Now this is so strange because he had been solid, right? Like actually pretty good. A couple seasons, like where we're like, okay, we got something, and then you go into your contract year where most guys have the best seasons, and he had looked bad. So I really don't know what his deal is. But what are your thoughts with Aaron Banks?
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably walks this year. He's not been good. Like, this has probably been one of his worst seasons. And what's crazy is that he'll probably get a bag anyway because the guard market, for some reason, is just insane. So there's going to be a team that's going to be willing to pay him a really nice deal, and it shouldn't be the 49ers.
Yeah. I agree. How about let's take a look at the two backup quarterbacks. Both, are only under a 1-year deal, so both will be gone. If so, do you bring either of them back?
I mean, none of them are really exciting to me. I like Dobbs, but I don't think the 49ers like Dobbs half as much as we all do. Brandon Allen's 33, maybe they bring him back just cause, where else is he going to sign? Like, why not kind of thing. But Dobbs, I think, will probably latch on somewhere else if I had to guess.
I agree. I don't know. Like, I'm telling you, because Kyle don't like a quarterback that's just going to go out there and do whatever. He wants a quarterback to go out there and is going to do exactly what he freaking tells him to do.
Yeah.
And that's not
Just
Dobbs.
like, why do you bring these types of quarterbacks in then?
To fuck with our emotions. Jake Tongs. I don't know what the hell his name is. Jake.
I think it's Tongus.
Jake Big T.
No, I mean, probably let him walk unless it's same deal, right? Like, he's super cheap. He's only 25. So if he came back on like a vet minimum or something like that, he's super deep on the depth chart. So similar to Kevin Givens, it's like,
right.
If he comes back, I wouldn't be super mad at it, but yeah, it just won't be a priority.
How about Eric Saubert?
I don't think so. He's been disappointing. Like, I don't know. I think I was expecting more from him. So I think they'll kind of look at another TE2.
Like, it's like so hard for us to find a good tight end too. I don't know what the deal is, but hopefully this will be the season that we can get it done. Chris Conley.
I like Chris Conley. I mean, I think he's made of the right stuff. I think, he's 32. He's been a nice veteran presence for like some of the younger guys. I think he's a good exemplary guy in that locker room. I wouldn't mind if they brought him back, like, because like I'm not sure another team would really be interested in him, right? So if it makes sense, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, it's not somebody obviously that we're relying so much on the field, but he is that vet presence and he seems to fit in like great, like you like on that a clip going around of them giving out Christmas presents and stuff. Like, he's like the main character in it, and like on those mic'd up, segments and stuff, like he's always a part, not the mic'd up guy, but he's always, in there talking to him. And like, he just is like a great personality. Like, I like him. And, when we do actually need to rely on him, like he's come through too. So it's not like he's ass. So I hope, if you can get him back on the cheap, I don't see nobody else rushing out to sign him. So let's talk a little bit about these O-line guys. We got Jalen Moore, who's obviously we get to see, these last couple games, see how he finishes out. Do we keep him? I know Chris Forster was talking a little bit about him today and talked about how, they drafted him to be a guard, but he's played tackle and he doesn't see him ever being able to play guard. He said that pretty much if a guy that this is how he looks at it we're going to talk about Chris Forster in a minute. But he says, if a guy can play tackle, play them there. If they can't, then you move them inside.
Yeah. Usually it's like the opposite. Like,
yeah. So who knows? He said, whether this is right or not, this is how I look at it. I'm like, yeah, probably it's wrong then. But so Jalen Moore, and then you got Ben Barch as well, who it seemed like, could have possibly had something and then got hurt. So either of those guys, do you bring them back?
Okay, so Ben Barch has been one of those guys that's like kind of under the radar. So like not sure if there's how big of a market he's going to have. He is young, so like he's only 26. Yep. Jalen Moore's 27. I like Jalen Moore. I think he's filled in admirably for Trent Williams, but I'm still assuming as of now that Trent Williams is going to be back, next season, and you don't bench Trent Williams. So like, what's the spot realistically for Jalen Moore? So like, unfortunately, like they might be just kind of forced to to move on from Jalen Moore, despite him, being promising. And looking good, and he's developed well. But again, like 49ers could look at it in the sense of, well, at least we would get a good comp pick back the following seasons. So which undoubtedly they would probably get for Jalen Moore. So I think Ben Barch would be the more under the radar guy that they can bring it back, just because like he's dealing with an injury now, and he's been a pretty under the radar kind of guy already to this point, like since they brought him from, I think it was Jacksonville, right? So I was excited for Barch. I wanted to see more. So yeah, I would bring him back, and I unfortunately don't think they'll be able to bring Jalen Moore back.
All right, couple more real quick. Curtis Robinson.
Linebacker. I liked him, right? Like I think I want to say he's been with the team, like the team drafted him. I think.
Yeah. Been on the
so
practice
yeah,
squad and back and forth.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if he takes a similar route to Flanagan Fowles, where we drafted you kind of late, like we like you, you fit our system. I would have loved to see him more this season, right? Like it was a shame that he got hurt. I think they can bring him back on the cheap, and he could be one of those guys that fills in well. He could take that DFF role where he's a special teams guy, but he also provides you with depth. Yep. So I like that. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Same. I agree. I was excited that he was finally going to get more of a chance, to get some playing time this season, and then he got hurt.
Good in camp.
Yeah, he did. All right, so the last two, Khalil Davis.
I got to be honest, I haven't really heard his name much this season, and I don't know if it's because I maybe get him confused with Kalia Davis, but could be it. But yeah, I think he'll walk.
Same. There was a point where I had to even like halfway through the season, I'm looking and I'm like, is this like, are they messing up the name? Like, am I tripping? Is the same person?
Yeah.
And the last one of these guys is Rakia Sin.
Yeah, same boat as Isaac Yiadom, like what really were his contributions this year? I think he played some special teams this season, and the special teams hasn't been that good. So I don't know. They probably know more than we do as far as what his contributions have been, and if those are positive enough to bring back. But I'm just like, I don't really know what he's done, so hard for me to say he should return.
Whoever played special teams this season, get him the hell out of here. Don't bring it back no more.
Yeah, and Salty says like Yiadom or Yasin, just pick one. Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, a couple of vets that now might be the time to make a decision on. One being Juice. Do the 49ers finally cut ties with Juice this season?
It wouldn't shock me, but God, Kyle is so stubborn. Like I think Kyle would make a case to keep him. I know, like, as far as blocking and the run game goes, like, he does a lot for that. And it's like one of those things where you don't want to see the run game not blocked very well, because I think we have seen it a couple times this season, and that's with Juice in there, and it just hasn't been good, and it's had effects, I think on the whole defense. So is Juice kind of declining a little bit? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they moved on from him, but who are you bringing in? Like, you better have a strong tight end too, if you're going to get rid of Juice. So they haven't been able to find a good enough one. So that's kind of the dilemma they're in. I think they keep him, but I think it's because of Kyle. They do.
Oh, if Juice is on this team next season, it's 100% because that's Kyle's table.
Slam the table for him.
Like, oh my gosh, I would love if they would, and even if you draft this guy to be the tight end too, and with hopes that he then, whenever Kittle, is done, that he takes Kittle's spot. Like, draft a tight end too, whether it be the second round, third round, draft a fucking tight end that's going to be good enough, and get Juice the hell out of here. I'm tired of it.
Seems like this might be a good draft for tight ends, but the last time we said that, the 49ers picked Cam Latu in the third round. So maybe they should, actually pick someone who is a proven player.
Yeah, either way, just get a good tight end too in there. And let's call this juice experiment done with. Like, this offensive weapon, like, when do we see it? Like, if you're having an offensive weapon and he's that much of an offensive weapon, he shouldn't just be used in there for blocking and one catch a fucking every 6 games. Like,
he's gonna get a few carries this game probably with all the running back injuries.
Like, it's just ridiculous. I'm just like, we just keep the same. Like, we're keeping coaches around because they're homies. We're keeping players around because they're homies. The next one, Debo. You're hitting players. You're hitting your teammates. You're talking about other people not being good teammates. You're talking other players need to lock in, and you haven't locked in since. You're crying that you want the football, and then you fucking drop it. We paid you to be a wide back, and the only thing you have is a wide back. You don't play the position. I'm tired of it. Get out of here.
Oh my God. You just called Debo a big back. Yeah, I think this would be the right thing. Like, I just feel like the Debo thing has run its course in this scheme, in this offense. It's been incredible. It's been a hell of a ride, but it's done. Like, that run is over, like defenses know exactly what's coming when he gets manufactured touches. And as a wide receiver, it's few and far between when we've seen the impact. I mean, he looks good as a return man, but you're not paying him to be a return man. So I think they might have to move on. The thing is, I don't know what team at this point would trade for him, I don't know.
That's the problem. Should have traded him back then after his one magical unicorn season, because then his horn fell off and he turned into a donkey. And now we're stuck with the ass.
You're cooking today.
He's just another one. Like, are we just going to keep him because that's Shanahan's buddy? Like,
if they keep, like, it's like the same thing you said with Juice. Yeah. If they keep him, it's because of Shanahan, so.
We have players liking tweets that are talking about, him pretty much getting favoritism and everybody else is held to a different standard than him. So it's like, at what point does this start becoming a problem?
Yeah.
And then he's going to get on a podcast and talk about Devondre Campbell not being a great teammate. Like, what? Like, have you looked in the mirror? Because at least, Devondre Campbell's not out there smacking up his teammates.
Yeah. Hasn't been his best year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about a couple coaches. Nick Sorensen. Time to go, or does he stay?
I wouldn't mind if Nick Sorensen stayed in 2025, and I'll tell you why. Because I think in the last couple of weeks, we've seen what this defense could look like when it's not like littered with injuries, and we've seen how a couple of players who hadn't been on the defense most of this season, like Huff and Greenlaw, how much just those guys make it look like the defense is okay again, So when you compare Nick Sorensen to and the defense that he has and has had this season, when you compare that to even D'Amico's first season or Steve Wilkes last year, right? They had far and away a better personnel group on defense than they do right now. Like, it's not even close. Right. Like, the defense personnel wise was not good, especially on the defensive line, right? Like, it was just a hodgepodge of, different guys. And I think it's taken them a while to even play together all at the same time and get acclimated to, what the scheme is, right? There's just, I think, too many guys that were new. So I would give them another year. Like I wouldn't be mad at it. At the same time, I think if there are better options out there, I wouldn't be mad if the 49ers explored those either. Like Jeff Ulbrich maybe is a candidate, maybe Robert Saleh. I don't know. But I think the biggest thing the 49ers need is continuity.
Right.
So I think having 3 different defensive coordinators in like the last couple years, and then you want to change it again.
Yeah.
So 4 different defense, like they need continuity. So I would give Nick Sorensen that opportunity.
You mentioned Saleh. So what if Saleh did want to come back? Do you move him into like a
it would have to be mutual. It'd have to be mutual, of course. But like, yeah, if he wanted to come back and the 49ers wanted him back, like I wouldn't be mad at it if they made that happen.
Chris Forrester.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine?
Yeah. I think like the offensive line and like how they've looked, I think has been a little over dramatized. Is that a word? I think the biggest thing on that offensive line is Jake Brendel. Like they need a better center, younger center. I think if that happened, that would trickle down to the rest of the line. I think Trent not being available, and even before Trent got hurt, like him not having the off season hurt him, right? I think Pooney's been good, and I think he'll just improve. So I think really the biggest weak spot is Colton McKivitz, which he hasn't been that bad. I feel like last season was way worse for Colton McKivitz. And then, Brendel, I think, has been pretty bad. Aaron Banks has been bad. So.
But I mean, like
I
keep
like
drafting. You draft guys for the O-line, and then we either never see them. They get pushed down the depth chart. Is like, at what point do we stop blaming the guys we're drafting and blame the coach that's supposed to be coaching up these guys to get better?
The development plan for the 49ers offensive linemen, I mean, it's worked a couple times, and they've become starters, right? The problem is that it takes its time. It takes at least 2 years or a year to 3 years for some of these guys to eventually become the starters, right? So I think that's the frustrating part. I think part of that has to do with the fact that the 49ers draft philosophy is let's not use early round picks on offensive linemen. So that's what, they have to work with. And then they pretty much say we'll develop them in-house, and that takes forever. So there is I think a bit of a learning curve for guys entering the NFL. And we've seen it. There were guys that went in the first round or early second rounds that we were all wanting the 49ers to pick. Where are those guys? There's some of them who aren't starting for their teams because they didn't look good. They fell on their face to start the season because that it's tough, so I think that's part of it. I'm not putting that on Forrester. So
okay, 2 more.
I think he'll stay. Yeah.
Brian?
No. Fire him. I don't care that they've looked better the last couple of years. No, he doesn't. I don't think he does because I think he sees them looking somewhat better to end the season and not being a complete disaster. And I think that's good enough for him.
I'm gonna be sick if that guy is a coach on our staff next season. I can't deal with it anymore.
Get ready to be sick.
And this one I keep seeing Sim bring it up, so I'll add him to the list. Hankerson.
Is that the
wide receiver coach?
I haven't really noticed him, so I don't know. I fly under the radar.
Do we seem like our wide receivers are getting better since I
wouldn't know, because we haven't even seen Ricky Pearsall or Jacob Cowing, and to me that's more a Kyle Shanahan thing than it is Hankerson. So I don't know.
Kyle said Cowings might be finally starting to earn some playing time now that the season's over. So,
good.
I don't know when he's going to play when the season's over, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wish. All I know is I would be fine if you keep all those other coaches. I would like Kyle, number one, to get an offensive coordinator in there. Get somebody in there
that will never happen.
Whether Miami Mike gets fired and comes back to be his sidekick, I don't know. But it seems like Kyle himself has taken a decline. And then Brian Schneider. Do not let that guy back in this freaking building. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you have to hire Symmetry 7 to go there and coach for him. Do not let that guy. Like, our special teams has been terrible.
Yep.
Season in and season out. And just because they haven't been number 32 for the last 3 weeks doesn't mean he fucking earned it to keep his damn job. Like, he is terrible. Like, I was pissed because the last special teams coach was ass. Like, this guy's worse. I didn't think it could get worse. And it fucking got worse.
Because Kyle doesn't actually care if they're good. Just wants them to be okay.
Just don't go in there and screw it up.
Except they have, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man. I don't know. I know we didn't talk too much about Miami, but Steph, what you got for your score prediction?
Oh my God, I forgot to give one. The defense has been pretty good as of late. Like, holding Rams to 12 points, I think, was impressive. I'm expecting another good defensive performance from our team. I'm gonna go. Trying to think how they would the math.
And by the way, the score currently, Steph, is kicking my ass. It's 145 to 163. So
I'm gonna go 22 to 13. Niners win.
22-13. 49ers win, huh? Brock, he's a Dolphins fan, so he might turn up in Miami.
Raining.
And Marino's supposed to be there at the game, so
he's gonna want to impress him.
He is. I don't know though do I think the 49ers are actually going to be able to win this game? Is the question.
It's a must-lose game because losing would give you better draft position. So you know what the 49ers do when they're faced with that. They win. That's what they do.
Peachy says it's going to be bright and sunny in Miami. The Brock don't have to worry about ball slippage. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's do 17-21.
Okay.
49ers, I guess. I don't want to, but talked me into it. You're done for the week? You got stuff
No,
going
I got
on?
my show tomorrow. I got my show tomorrow with KP. I think actually, now that I think about it, I'm like, wait, I have so I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. But we'll see. Yeah, that's preview show tomorrow, and then then maybe post game. You know, it's the holidays. Schedule gets weird.
Yep, it is the holidays, so we don't know if we're going to be here next week. So keep an eye. If we're here, we're here. If we're not, then we'll be back the following Thursday. We appreciate everybody that came through. Chat, you guys have been awesome, per usual. Congrats again to Miss Debbie for winning the 2 goats. Much love. Steph, appreciate you as always. 2 goats, we're out, but we'll be back next time.
Peace.
Peace.